Resiliency is knowing when you're falling and knowing how to catch yourself. With self-wisdom, it's important because there are people who think they know better than you. And in a lot of cases, there are people who know better than you. They can be more knowledgeable, and fair enough, there are people who know more about how to cook a pizza than I do. But when it comes to me, when it comes to how I feel, when it comes to how things work best with me, I'm the one who is the expert. I am the be-all, end-all when it comes to me, because no one else knows me like I know me. And it's important because if you don't listen to what the person has to say, I remember I was at a meeting and I would say that a certain service was not going to work for me because I didn't like the idea of the service, and they said, well, what you're doing is you're making it so, since you're saying that, since you're in that mindset, it's definitely not going to work. When I say something is not going to work, I don't say that because I don't want it to work. Why would I not want something to work? I'm saying it because it won't work. So it's important that providers realize this, that I don't go out of my way to make sure that my services don't work and see that I stay a mess. I say that these things don't work so that we can discard that and find something that will work. Well, courage and confidence, they're really important because sometimes the world, a lot of times, most of the time, if you really think about it, the world is a really scary place. There's a lot of stuff that can go wrong. But you have to find it within yourself to face your problems and face the wrongs of the world that are going to affect you every day and say, those aren't going to stop me. There's always something that's going to cause that's going to be hard, and you have to have the courage to face that, and you do have the courage to face that. And it's not just the big stuff that can get you down, it's the little stuff too. And with courage and confidence, it gives you the power to face the little stuff.
When I first noticed that I had voices, I didn't know what they were. So I went to the high school's office and I told them what was going on. And they told me to go to the nurse's office, I believe, and they called my grandmother. They told her what was going on. And they took me to the hospital and all this. And ever since then, I've been trying to face the next day.
Michael had a problem at the beginning of the school year. 2 weeks of full-time school caused him to go into the hospital, and we had to make modifications of this. And the principal said, I said, he needs that. He needs to be able to go to a safe place when he's there. Well, he can't go unless he is surrounded by people because he's got schizophrenia and he can kill somebody, and I won't have a potential killer running around in my school. And because of that and his attitudes, I did write to the superintendent, to the principal, and a few other people in the district threatening to sue him personally for not giving me the rights, Michael, the rights that every other student had. And as a result of that, I got
confidence in myself. And because I was able to fight and get that confidence for me, he was able to gain confidence.
I remember this one time I had to get ready to say a speech, to give a speech. And it was so huge because it was in front of the legislator. And everybody was making a big deal out of it. And I was shaking, I was so nervous. And when I went up there to speak, a part of me opened up that I forgot was there. And I started crying. And at the end, you know, people were applauding and people that came up to me and hugged me. And I didn't realize the effect that I had on the people until they really came back up to me. And from that point on, I realized how strong my voice was.
I really think that hope and optimism are just keys. And I think it's true for all people, but especially for young people who may have challenges, may feel like the world is not very accepting, and they look at various times in their life that look almost hopeless, that people don't expect that they're going to achieve. People are not expecting them to make it. People don't believe that they're going to grow into adulthood with, you know, some purpose in life. So for people who see that and can help the young person hold on to that or move beyond whatever the disconnect is, whether a time in their life that they're down or a time that they've failed at something and they don't want to hold on to that forever, but they don't know how to get out of it, for those supportive people and providers around the young person to be able to move them forward, to help them see that there are things ahead in life that will be good. And I'm going to help you get there. I believe in you, and we're going to find a plan, and we're going to help you get there.
There have been some times in my life where I felt hopeless. You have to find something that's a quick fix, and eventually when you see that's fixed, then you'll be like, oh, I fixed that. Let's try to fix this part of my life, and this part of my life, and this part of my life. And in the meantime, the hope is rising while the hopelessness is falling. And it's really important that you realize that it just has to be a little thing, just a little thing to feel hopeful about, and that can make all the difference.
Sometimes it's hard to find good things when everything seems like it's going bad, but you just have to try real hard and try every day to point out something positive. And I don't care how small it is. Let it be genuine, but it doesn't have to be big.
The people that I work with and the families or the clients that I work, the Somali community, what I always tell them is, yesterday was a bad day, today is a better day, and tomorrow will be the best day. So sharing with that, when we were back yesterday in refugee camp, we didn't have lights and water. Here we are, we have lights and water, and tomorrow you never know what we will have. So keep fighting. That's what I always share with my clients and my families.